In this month's issue, I've built a Will's bus stop kit, and blithely said that to do the walls, all I've done is I've dry brushed them. Well, I thought I'd better cover a little bit of dry brushing of walls on this video. So here is a sheet of Will's Flemish Bond brickwork. It's exactly the same stuff as is in the kit. Obviously you just get less of it and it's part of the wall, but as you can see, it's got a bit of texture to it, probably more so than something like Slater's plasticard, but the dry brushing technique will work just as well. First job is to give the wall a nice coat of Humbrol 121. I'm using enamels exclusively on this one because the slower drying helps a little bit. This just gives me a nice mortar colour to work with. Now this must be left to dry overnight before you move on to the next stage. Otherwise the paint won't be fully hardened and it might actually lift when we start doing the dry brushing. Okay, colours. Bricks are brick colour, which in my case tends to be Humbrol 70. And there we are, nice pot of Humbrol 70. It's a bit thick, this paint, but that's all right for what we're doing. That's absolutely perfect. I'm going to pull a little bit out and put it on the tin lid and put that out of the way. And then I'm going to take an old brush. Now this is an old knackered Humbrol Coloro brush. The bristles are not in the greatest of condition, but that's all right because that makes it perfect for this job, because the bristles are going to get a bit of a hammering. So pick up some paint on the brush, work the bulk of it off onto the kitchen roll that I'm working over, and then gently stroke it onto the surface of the bricks. Now the effect is quite subtle and takes a little while to build up, but that's good because you can gradually build up the effect by going over it time and time again. And in fact what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a different colour as well to add a bit of variety to my brickworks. But as you can see, what I'm doing is just gently brushing the brush over the faces of the bricks, and you can still see some mortar lines between them, which is what we're looking for. We just want to get the surfaces. What's happening with this dry brush technique is there's very little paint on the brush. Literally, it is dry, and when you rub it over the surface, any raised detail pulls paint from the brush. It's not kind to the bristles. This is why you use an old brush, but it is very, very effective at highlighting detail. Things like wagon underframes work great with a sort of tank grey dry brushing. And yeah, gradually working over there. I think for a bit of variety, we'll go for a bit of Humbrol 133 as well. I tend to I like to vary my colours a little bit. Just scrape the worst of that off. These are both quite thick pots, but actually, thick paint is good for this job. So we won't have any problem. I'm just going to quickly put the lid on that before I knock it over and make a mess everywhere. Again, pick up some. You notice I'm not bothering to clean the brush. Cleaning the brush is for wimps, and also I want to blend the colours actually on the wall and on the brush. And go over it again. Same areas, just to add a little bit of variety to the brickwork. And this, if you look at it really closely, you can see the brick surfaces have got colour on them, and the mortar hasn't. All being well, that's the effect I'm certainly going for. And it's quite easy with this fairly textured brickwork because you've got quite a distance between mortar and brick face. So that's great. But what can go wrong? Well, very little actually. Except that, and this is the classic case, you don't take enough off the brush, and suddenly you're not dry brushing anymore, you are painting the wall, which isn't the effect we were looking for at all. So what I'll do with that is, in an attempt to save it, I'll take a little bit of Terps, run it over the wall, and hopefully I can work out the worst of the paint that shouldn't be in there, and I can literally just wash the paint away. This is the advantage of using slower drying enamels, because you can do this sort of paint lifting technique where you work over it with turbs and lift the paint that you don't want out of the places you don't want it. And I say, little damp brush. Again, probably an old brush works very well, but you can wash that off quite nicely there. And that is pretty much ready for another go. I'm going to go and dry it off, and then I shall be back. There we have it, a few minutes, a few seconds with the old workshop hairdryer, and suddenly I've got a clean wall again that I can have another go at. And again, just the problem was too much paint on the brush. Just wipe more off on the kitchen towel, and you're back in business. So there you are, dry brushing, a really useful technique to learn. Very useful if you're going to do any weathering on absolutely anything, and certainly using sheets like this, which you can often pick up very cheaply actually under second-hand stores and that sort of thing. Great way of practicing your dry brushing, and you know, pick up those skills and enhance them. Happy modelling.